You're 29, idling in traffic at 7:42 a.m. Brake lights stretching out for a mile ahead of you. Red smearing into red under a sky that hasn't decided if it's going to rain. The offer letter is folded on your passenger seat, creased from where you keep unfolding it, just to look at the number again. $83,100. That's $15,000 more than the $68,400 you make right now. Right now, your commute is 9 minutes. 9. You could walk it in a rainstorm and barely get wet. Coffee still warm when you sit down at your desk. The new job wants 51 minutes each way, through 2 highway merges and a construction zone that's been temporary for a year and a half. Your savings account has $6,200 in it, and your odometer reads 41,300 miles. Hold on to those numbers, all of them, the tidy ones and the ugly one buried under your seat that you haven't looked at in a month. By the end of this, you're going to watch what that extra $15,000 actually costs once we track it forward. In gas, in miles, in missed dinners, in a version of your life that quietly disappears somewhere around year 5. So slowly you won't even clock the moment it left. Let's go. You sign the offer in a parking lot, engine still running, radio still on, before you can talk yourself out of it. Your salary jumps to $83,100. Your commute becomes 51 minutes each way. Over an hour and a half a day, gone, swallowed by a stretch of interstate you haven't even driven yet. Your savings are still sitting at $6,200, untouched, because this was a decision made with your head, not your bank statement. The math on paper looks simple. More money, same you, just a longer drive. I've made decisions like that, the kind that look clean on a spreadsheet and messy in your chest. The kind where you triple-check the arithmetic, because the arithmetic is the only part that feels solid. Your jaw is tight when you hit send on the acceptance email. You tell yourself it's nerves. Just nerves, not doubt. But here's the thing about your body. It does math your spreadsheet doesn't. It doesn't know about the 15 grand. It just knows something's about to take an hour and a half a day that it used to have. And it's already grieving it before you've even packed a box. You don't know yet why your chest doesn't relax when you hit send. You'll find out. Give it 6 months. 6 months in, your odometer's at 46,800 miles, up 5,500 from that 41,300 you started with. All of it burned on the same stretch of highway, same 3 exits, same gas station where you've started recognizing the guy at the register. Gas and maintenance are running about $310 more a month than before. That's real money leaving your account every single week. The kind of leak you don't notice until you go looking for it. Until you finally sit down with a highlighter and your bank statement and start circling things. You've got an extra 2.5 hours a day now that belong to the road instead of to you. Hours you used to spend making dinner. Or not making dinner and just sitting still, which turns out to have been worth more than you gave it credit for. The raise hits your account, bigger number, feels good for about a day, but so does a bigger gas bill, and a warning light on your dash you've started ignoring, because who has time? You stop going to the gym. Not a decision, really, just no time left in the day for it. The gym bag sitting by the door like a small accusation. Then your old coworker, still at that $68,400 you used to make, texts you about a promotion opening up back at your old shop. One you'd have been first in line for. You read it twice. The number in your bank account is bigger than it used to be. So why does it feel like less? You're 30 now. Let's do the math you've been avoiding. Savings are up to $9,100. Good, real progress from that $6,200. But you finally sit down on a Sunday night. Kitchen table, laptop open, receipts in a shoebox you should have organized months ago, and add up the commute, gas, tolls, wear on the car, and it comes to near $4,200 for the year. Untracked until now, sitting there in black and white, like it had been waiting for you to notice it. Once you subtract it, the real raise isn't $15,000. It's closer to $10,800. Still good. Just not what the offer letter promised. Not the number you told your parents on the phone the day you signed. Meanwhile, your friend Marcus, Remember him? Still local, still at 71,000. Just used his extra evening hours to coach his daughter's soccer team. Orange slices at halftime, lawn chair folded in his trunk. You missed 3 of her games this year. You don't say why out loud, not to Marcus, not really to yourself. The gap between you and Marcus in dollars is smaller than you thought it'd be by now. But is the money the only thing you're actually comparing? You're 32. The transmission goes at 71,400 miles. Remember, you started this whole thing at 41,300, so that's 30,000 miles of highway between you and the job you signed for. 30,000 miles that don't show up on any pay stub. Repair bill, $2,850, quoted flat by a mechanic who doesn't even look up from the invoice when he says it. Your savings, which had climbed to $9,100, dropped back down to $5,600. Lower than where you started. Lower than the number you were so proud of at 30. The car that gets you to the higher-paying job needs a $2,850 fix just to keep doing its one job, like the whole arrangement is a machine feeding itself. That same week, a study on commuting and stress on your heart crosses your feed, one of those headlines with a scary little graphic attached. You close the tab. I do that too, if I'm honest. Close the tab on anything that sounds like it's building a case against a decision I already made, because it's easier than reading the rest of the article. Meanwhile, Marcus gets a title bump at his old job. You're explaining to your manager why you were late twice this month. Weather, traffic, an accident 3 exits back that wasn't even yours. Watching his face for whether he believes you. You keep telling yourself the promotion's coming, but what if the drive gets there first? Age 34. The promotion finally lands. Salary jumps to $94,500. Marcus, meanwhile, is up to $79,000. On paper, you're now $15,500 ahead of him. Almost exactly the gap that offer letter promised 5 years ago. Just 5 years late. Arriving like a package that got rerouted twice. Feels like vindication for about a week. Then you do the subtraction you've gotten good at by now. The repairs, the extra hours priced honestly, the whole quiet ledger you've been keeping without meaning to. And the real gap between you and Marcus is closer to $6,000. Not nothing, but not the story you told yourself in that parking lot either. Not the number you'd have bet on back when the ink was still wet. And here's the part that actually lands on you. Your partner mentions, almost gently, over dishes, water running, hands still wet, that you've missed more dinners this year than you've made. Not an accusation, just a fact. Said quietly. The kind that sits with you longer than a fight would, the kind you replay 3 days later in traffic for no reason. The dollar gap finally exists, the one you signed up for. So why doesn't it feel like the win you thought it'd be? Age 37. You sit down and do the full tally, the one you've been avoiding for 8 years, pulling old bank statements, old maintenance receipts, doing it properly this time instead of guessing. Gas, maintenance, tolls, and the hours themselves priced at even a modest hourly rate. Conservative on purpose because you don't trust yourself not to inflate it. The total comes to past $61,000. $61,000 over 8 years just to get to and from the job that was supposed to be worth an extra $15,000 a year. You sit with that number for a long time before you let yourself believe it, rereading your own math twice like it might change. That's not a rounding error. That's most of the raise you took the job for in the first place. Handed straight back to the road, mile by mile, gallon by gallon. You start looking at listings closer to the office, what moving would actually cost, stacked up against what staying has already cost you without you noticing. A spreadsheet you build at midnight because you can't sleep anyway. You finally know the real price of the job you signed for in that parking lot 8 years ago. The only question left is whether you keep paying it. Age 40. You do the thing you should have tried years ago, you ask. You sit across from your manager, hands folded, and negotiate 2 remote days a week. Your commute cost drops by roughly 40%. Your savings, which crept along through all of this, hit $31,700, the highest that number has ever been. And you notice, this time, that it feels different than the raise did. You're back on the same on-ramp most mornings, same brake lights stretching out for a mile, but only 3 mornings a week now, not 5, and somehow that's enough to change the whole shape of your week. And this time the extra money finally lands the way it was supposed to, back at 29, because the hours finally belong to you again. Dinner made, dishes done, evenings that feel like yours. Marcus, for what it's worth, never made it to 94,500. But he also never missed a season of soccer games. Neither path was free. That was never really the choice on the table. The only question was which cost you were willing to pay first, and which one you were willing to fix once you saw the bill. So here's where simulated you lands. Ahead, financially, eventually, but only after the commute quietly ate a third of that raise for the better part of a decade, in small monthly bites you never itemized at the time. And only after you finally negotiated your way out of the worst of it, years later than you probably should have, with a conversation you could have had at 32 instead of 40. The $15,000 on that offer letter was real. So was the bill nobody itemized for you underneath it. And here's the part I actually want you to take with you, because this isn't really about a made-up guy at 29 in a parking lot with the engine running. If a number like that is sitting on your desk right now, a real offer, a real raise, a real longer drive, don't just look at the salary line. Price the drive, the gas, the miles, the version of your evening that quietly disappears into it, the dinners, the games, the version of you that has energy left at 6 p.m. instead of running on fumes by 7. The raise might still be worth taking. I'm not telling you to turn it down. I'm telling you to know what you're actually buying before you sign for it. Because the offer letter never itemizes the part that costs you the most. That's my story. Yours might look different, or it might not.